All right, closing your eyes, drawing your attention to your body. Even just the sensations of the body, right? The feeling of the temperature of the room on your skin, or your clothes on your skin. The sounds around you. You can hear the birds and the chickens, roosters. Noticing the eyes, even as they're closed, are they still busy? What are they looking for? And maybe just turning your senses, or just acknowledging, right, that they're really tapped into this present moment, right, that you're hearing what's happening in the moment. Temperature is the temperature in the moment. The breath is the breath in the moment. And the eyes, can the eyes stay with what is right now? Again, even as they're closed. And just dropping into this moment. This time and space. Feeling the vastness and the richness of this time, this space, this breath. Good, starting to lengthen the inhale and the exhale. And next several breaths, let's inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Breath is diffuse. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Completing the exhale. Again, inhale slowly through the nose, inviting the breath in, softening, opening, expanding the body to receive the breath. And exhaling through the mouth. Good, with the mouth open, feeling sense of the face widening, opening, space between the ears, the back of the throat, even the hinge of the jaw almost softening, opening, widening, and keeping that as you inhale. Nasal passages, back of throat, chest, even the shoulders widening, softening as the lungs fill. Good, one more breath, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. Starting to feel that spacious, diffuse quality through the whole body. And then coming back to inhaling, exhaling through the nose. And let's bring palms together in front of the heart. And just an acknowledgement of a nourishment need and that ability to receive. Need for nourishment, whatever that is. Body, heart, mind. And let's begin with one Om. Stretching the legs forward. All right, let's come on to our backs. Excuse me. Okay, so feet flat on the floor. And just feeling the shape of the body on the floor. And let's actually just take one foot up towards the ceiling and point and flex, point. Flex, make a big circle at the ankle in one direction, letting the toes fan, spread, scoop around, and then change, move other direction. Good, and then switch. Other leg up, point, and flex, point, and flex, big circle in one direction, letting the toes sweep and spread, change direction. Good, and take both legs up and just shake the legs. Right, shake them. Wobble, wobble, wobble. Good, and both feet to the floor. And then let's just take the hands, interlace the fingers, and press the palms up to the ceiling. Right, so letting those little fingers and thumbs stay together. But letting the palms spread, the heel of the hand spread. And even think about reaching the fingers, so the tips of the right fingers towards the back of that left wrist. And the opposite left fingertips towards the back of the right wrist. And let's take the arms overhead, letting the ribs stay heavy. Right, so exploring the breath in the back of the ribs, just to keep those back ribs heavy. Good. And so here with the arms alongside the ears, maybe they're not all the way over, it doesn't really matter. Just letting the shoulder blades just draw towards the hips. And then up towards the ears, not a big movement, down towards the hips. And up towards the ears, one more, down towards the hips. And up towards the ears. And then bringing the arms back up. Release the hands, shake the hands out. Good, making little fists with your palms together and just roll. Right, roll the knuckles like you're drawing a circle on the ceiling. It's not quite a circle, it's a funny round shape. And then change direction. Okay. And then arms alongside the body. So again, ribs heavy, and I'm just feeling how the pelvis is resting, right? The shape of your pelvis on the floor. Some of us are naturally more tipped towards the waist of our pants, and some of us are more naturally tipped towards the tailbone. Just notice where you are. And then let's move the pelvis or move the weight on the pelvis, right? So we're gonna tip towards an anterior tilt. I'm shifting more weight towards my tailbone, sitting bones. And then up, rolling up the length of the sacrum towards the top of the sacrum. Waist gets heavy on the floor. I'm just posteriorly tilting the pelvis. And then anteriorly, right, letting the waist lift, the weight start to roll down towards sitting bones and tailbone. And again, posterior tilt, laying the top of the sacrum down, the waist down. And just feel the sitting bones get light. Maybe the feet get a little heavy. One more time, rolling or rocking both sitting bones, tailbone to the floor. And then rolling back up, posterior tilt. Keep the waist heavy. I'm going to peel the heels off the floor. Keep the waist heavy. Peel the toes off the floor. Knees towards the chest. And again, toes come down. Good. Keeping the waist heavy as I land the heels down and then let the weight shift towards the sitting bones. And rolling up the sacrum, waist heavy, heels get light, toes get light, knees come to the chest. All right, so I'm really curling the tailbone towards the pubis. And I'm going to keep that as the toes come to the floor. Keep the thought of it as the heels come down and then roll. Let it roll towards an anterior tilt and then posterior tilt. Tailbone curls, waist gets heavy, heels lift, toes lift. Good, and then I'm just gonna keep the feet off the floor and lift the heels towards the ceiling, right? Knees are still bent. And I'm just gonna play with pulling the knees towards the chest as I curl, and then maybe just touch toe tips to the floor. So I don't lose the posterior tilt, but I'm just gently, right, increasing the curl as the knees come towards the chest, right, lifting most of the sacrum off the floor, right, as eventually I'm going to swing the legs up and over towards Halasana. I'm just preparing the spine, just waking up the lower spine and the belly. Good. And then both feet come to the floor. Okay, so then I'm actually going to rock myself up to sit, roll myself up, same shape. Okay, so let the knees straighten or the legs straighten a little bit more so knees are closer to the floor. I'm going to start in my neutral spine. I'm up on the center of my sitting bones, arms reach forward. Just do a couple of these, right? So posterior tilt again, just a different angle. Rolling, tailbone forward, top of the sacrum back. Waist down, and then slowly come up. You can use your hands on the backs of the legs if you need to, and come up to sit. And again, curl, tailbone forward. And feel, segmentally roll the sacrum back, center of the sacrum, top of the sacrum, lumbar spine. And try to do that as you come up, a little harder to get that clear, especially at the top of the sacrum. Last time, rolling down and rolling up. Okay, and then I'm gonna lift my feet off the floor, right? So I'm balanced, kind of Ardha Navasana. And the same thing, I'm gonna roll down, but now my legs are up. I'm gonna roll down and roll up. You can use your hands. And once I'm up, I'm just gonna turn, maybe tap my left elbow to my right inner leg and center, and then roll down again and roll up. Right elbow taps that left inner knee. Center, rolling down and rolling up. Left elbow, right inner knee. Good, and rolling down and up. Right elbow, left inner knee. Good, feet to the floor. Yay. Okay, all right, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of crawling. Love some crawling since we're talking about cats. Let's do some crawling. Okay, so on hands and knees. So palms a little closer to the knees. So I'm in a shorter position rather than a long open tabletop position. Hands closer to the knees. And I'm just gonna start here by curling the toes under, lift the knees off the floor just an inch, and make a little circle around the hands, right? Getting some more weight into the fullness of the hand. And then come back down. Just flipping my fingers back towards my knees. And just shifting forward and back. Forward and back. One more. Again, maybe a little circle. And then turning the hands forward again. Let's do a couple shoulder blade push-ups, right? So I'm going to squeeze my shoulder blades towards each other. Right, shoulder blades come towards the spine. And then spread apart. Squeeze towards each other. And spread apart. And squeeze. And spread. And squeeze. And spread. Okay, let's take shoulder blades towards the ears and down towards the hips. Ears, both of them, down towards the hips. One more, shoulders towards the ears and down towards the hips. And now let's take the right shoulder forward and left shoulder back. Right shoulder blade towards the ear, left shoulder blade towards the hip. And then switch. Left shoulder blade forward towards the ear, right shoulder blade back towards the hip. So I end up in a little bit of a side bend, right? As I take the right shoulder blade forward, left shoulder blade back, my left hip can pull towards the left shoulder as the shoulder's going back. And then switch, maybe even look back at that right hip as that right shoulder's coming back. And switch, left shoulder back, turn, look at the left hip. Back and forth a couple more times. It's like slow-mo. If you had a tail and you were wiggling madly, this is the slow version. And then come back to center. Okay. All right. So last thing, let's put the back of the hand. So I'm doing one at a time. So I'm going to put the back of my hand on the floor. Actually, maybe I can do both. And again, I'm just going to little movements, shift my weight forward and back. Right, fingernails, thumbnails on the floor, little circle around the hands. Good, and release. And shake. Okay, let's give the wrists a break just for a moment. Turn the toes under and sit back on your heels. Okay, if you have a block handy, let's take the block behind. Good, so right hand on the block, and I'm just going to turn around and look back, see if I can find my feet with my eyes. And then come up other side, turn, look around, see if we can see my feet. Maybe both feet. And come back around. Maybe this time you do it without the block. Fingertips to the floor. Turn. Try to find one foot, maybe both. And up, other leg. or other direction, turning to the left, and then come back to center. Okay, come forward, point the toes, and sit back. All right, now we're gonna crawl. Okay, so toes under. Hands close to the knees, knees off the floor. So opposite hand and foot. Right hand, left foot comes forward just a little bit, and then switch. Left hand, right foot, and switch. Right hand, left foot, and switch. And switch. Let's go back. Right hand, left foot, left hand, right foot. And switch. And switch. And switch. And come down. Point your toes back. And take a breath. And then we'll do it again. Okay. So, toes under, hands by knees. Again, lift from your waist, not very high though. Right hand, left foot, left hand, right foot. Trying to move them same time, same speed. And back, and back, and back, and back, and back, and down. Okay, and then let's do almost a downward dog, but we're going to do it with the knees bent. So a short version, hands close to the feet. So again, crawling. Knees are going to be bent, right hand, left foot. And then maybe pause for a moment and let both legs straighten for a moment. And then bend the knees and walk. Left hand, right foot, and then straighten the legs for a moment. And bend, right hand, left foot. Straighten the legs, lift the hips, lift the waist. Bend, little walk, lift, straighten, bend, little walk, straighten the limbs, and then reverse, bend, right hand, left foot back, or whatever limb you're on, straighten, bend as you transition, straighten, bend, a little crawl, straighten for a moment, bend, a little crawl, straighten, bend, crawl, straighten, and come down. Okay, last one we're gonna do, straight legs the whole time, same short stance, and we're gonna lift the heels up. So you can bend your knees if you need to, but just play with having straight legs. Again, pretty short dog. Heels lift, right hand, left foot, left hand, right foot. So I'm really lifting the back of the pelvis up as I walk. It's a little awkward animal shape. And backwards. Right hand, left foot, left hand, right foot. Little steps, little steps, little steps. Or maybe slightly bigger steps. So maybe let's take one more. We'll do one more. So as you come forward, right? So I'm going to take that from the short stance, my right foot a little closer to my right hand as my left hand steps forward, right? So there's quite a bit of distance between left foot and left hand, and very little distance between the right foot and right hand. So again, there's that little bit of a side bend. And then walk. And then walk. Right, so we get a little bit of a side swag as you walk forward and as you walk back. We went for a walk through the woods yesterday and we saw these, I guess they're newts. I don't know what they were, but watching them walk side to side Okay. All right, let's just do simple downward dog. Good, spreading the hands into the floor. Lifting the heels for a moment, scooping the hips up, swinging the ribs and the waist and the hips up and back, and slowly lower the heels. Good, both knees to the floor. Okay, so let's come down for a moment. Oh, okay, so we're not going to do the ones we did last week, but let's do right hip, right elbow, right forearm on the floor. And knees perpendicular. Okay. So left hand on your hip, left arm up to the ceiling. Good. I'm going to pull my hips towards the floor as that left arm comes up and over. Little side bend again. And then come up, left hand comes towards the feet, and the left hip is now pulling towards the left shoulder, side bending the other way. Shortening the waist on the left side, lengthening through the right side. And then switch, right? Sitting bones pull away from the shoulders. So now left side is long, right side is short. And then switch again, reach towards the feet. Left arm up and over, reaching away from the hip. Shoulder towards the hip one more time, up and over. And then towards the feet. And then I'm going to turn. I'm just going to take my left arm to the floor, parallel to the right arm. Good, pressing into both forearms, just lifting the ribs, a little bit of a rounding and turning them to the right. Good, one more breath here. Let's take that left arm up to the ceiling, just reach it up. And we did this last week. Take that left arm under the ribs. So lifting the ribs as I turn, reaching to the right side of the room. And up. And again, reach to the right side of the room. Last time, up. And reach. Okay, so both forearms on the floor again. And I'm just going to extend that left leg out to the side, straight out. Pressing into both forearms, chest nice and wide. Point and flex that left foot. Point and flex. And now I'm going to take that left leg and bring it back to the back of the mat. So it's straight behind that left shoulder. Curl the toes under and just reach back through that left heel. Okay, now I'm just going to play with taking that right knee towards the left elbow. Just pull the knee towards the elbow and then straighten that right leg. And flex the right foot and point and flex and point. Now I'm just going to play with trying to pull the legs apart. So the right leg's going to kick to the right and up towards the hand. Left leg's going to kick back towards the back of the mat and even to the right side. They're just going to try to kick away from each other. Not much is going to move. I'm just going to think about it. Good, bend both knees, stack the legs. Okay, so I'm going to keep the feet where they are. I'm just going to press into the feet, press into the forearms. Show you from this side. And I'm just going to lift the hips up, lift the knees up, and shift to the other side. Right, so now my knees are on the other side of my body. Okay, let's take that right arm now up towards the ceiling. All right, so left hip, left elbow and forearm in a line. So hips pull, sitting bones towards the floor, right arm goes up and over, little side bend. to the left. Right side of the waist is long, left side of the waist is short. Really pressing into that left forearm, pushing it away from the body, and then reverse. Pulling that left forearm towards the body, right arm reaches towards the right foot. So shortening right side from shoulder to hip, lengthening left side. And then the reverse. Right arm comes up and over, shortening the left side, lengthening the right side. And reverse. Feeling the pull, left forearm towards the body, and push left forearm away as you arc over. And last time, pull. And then bring right forearm to the floor, parallel to the left. Good. And I'm going to extend that right leg straight out to the side of the room. Right, so it's actually in front of the right hip, but out to the right side of the room. Point and flex. Point and flex. And press into that left thigh, outer left thigh, to lift or keep that right leg buoyant. Press into that left forearm. Good, and then let's take that right leg back to the back of the mat, curl the toes under, reach through that right heel. So most of the body's in forearm plank except for the left leg. Now let's take that left knee and pull it towards the right elbow as we straighten that left leg. Good, pointing, left foot, flexing. Point, flex. Now try to pull the legs away from each other. Left leg forward, right leg back. Good, clear in the forearms. Good, and bend both knees, stack the legs. Again, feet towards the center line and lift the hips again. Turn the knees to the other side. On that right side again. Okay, and let's come up onto the hip and to the forearm, just for a moment. One more. So I'm going to take now the left foot, just the knee up, left foot flat to the floor for a moment. Left arm up. So different than we did last week. And again, I'm going to pull the sitting bones towards that left heel, again, as I arch over the right arm. Pressing into that right forearm, sending that right shoulder blade in towards the spine and down towards the right hip. And then switch. Left hand reaches towards the left foot. Right forearm pulls to the right side of the body. And then press the forearm away from the body, arcing over the right arm. And then again, side bending, shortening the left side. And then come to neutral. And I'm just going to take, so I'm pressing into that right leg to now extend that left leg up. Reach left arm up, left leg up. Good. Left hand comes down, left leg stays up. Right leg extends forward. And I'm going to keep the right leg off the floor. Keep that right leg off the floor as I slowly lower the left leg. Right leg stays off the floor. Turn the left toes under. Right leg stays off the floor. Turning towards the floor. Good. So maybe I'll keep that left hand on the floor, not the forearm, but keep turning towards the right hand, right leg's off the floor. Bend the knee, pull the knee towards the elbow. Lay that right leg down, left forearm down. Come back to where we started, or where we visited before. And then extend that right leg again. Let's press the outer right leg into the floor. Push it into the floor. Now try to pull it off the floor again, even if it doesn't move. One more time. Press and pull. Bend the left leg. Pull the feet towards the center line. Lift the hips and the knees. Turn to the other side. Oh. Okay. Right arm up. And pull the sitting bones towards the floor. Right arm over. Again, pressing into that left forearm. Press it away from the hip. And then pull it towards the hip as you reach the right hand towards the feet. And then press the forearm down and away from the hip as you arc. And towards the hip as you side bend the other way. And then right arm up, right knee up. Let's step the right foot on the floor. And same thing, right? Just different effect in the hips. Side bending. Right forearm pressing away, side bending, short on that left side, open on the right side. And reverse, shortening the right side. And reverse. And reverse. Let's take right arm up, right leg up. Hold. Breathe. Right hand comes to the floor. And I'm going to extend that left leg forward again, but left leg stays off the floor. And then slowly lower that right leg towards the floor. Left leg still off the floor. Right, I'm pulling that whole inner thigh towards the ceiling. Right toes turned under. I'm going to turn towards the floor, keeping that left leg off the floor. Just turning, turning, pulling that left inner thigh to the ceiling. Good. And then bend the knee, plant it on the floor, right forearm on the floor. Good. So pressing that outer left leg into the floor. As you reach back through that right heel. Good. And then extend that left leg again and press the outer leg into the floor. Good. Keeping that left forearm planted on the floor, the left shoulder blade moving onto the ribs, onto the back. And then try to pull that left outer leg off the floor. Engage that inner thigh again. It might not move. Good. And then bend the knee, stack the other knee on top. Lift both knees and hips. And then let's pause in the center, child's pose. Knees wide, toes together, stretch the arms forward. Good, and downward facing dog. Good, and plank pose. Good, and I'm just going to turn in my plank pose the pelvis to the right and center and pelvis to the left. And just notice what happens in the shoulders. Keep pressing into the hands, keep pressing down into the floor as the hips turn and center and downward dog. Good, and knees to the floor. Okay, so we're going to grab blocks for this next part. Oh, okay, blocks under hands. Okay, we're just going to play with. So I'm maybe going to show you this way first. So similar to what we just did, or maybe I'll show you this way. So downward dog, hands on the block. And then plank pose. And I'm going to bend that right knee, take the right knee towards the right elbow, and then turn, take the right knee towards the left elbow. And then I'm going to turn on that left foot on the floor, flat on the floor, and extend that right leg forward. And then reverse. And plank pose. Okay, left knee towards the left elbow, and then across towards the right elbow. And I'm going to pivot on that right foot. Put the right sole of the foot on the floor. Lift the hips. Lift the right arm up. Extend that left leg. And bend. Right hand down. Downward dog. Good. And come down. Okay. Yay. All right, so I'm going to turn my mat. All right, we're going to try one more, and then we might try it again. So I'm going to do same thing, downward dog, plank. And then to the Vashisthasana variation, where my right leg is pulling up towards the ceiling. And then I'm going to shift. So downward dog. You can do it with me, or you can watch. Plank. Right knee to the elbow. Right elbow, then to the left elbow. Pivot on that left foot. Pull the hips up as you step into the left foot. And extend right leg forward. And then pivoting back, knee to the chest. I'm going to try to spin on that left foot. And you can keep the right fingertips on the floor. You can even turn the block up, take that right knee to the ceiling. Or maybe right arm up. And then pivot back to plank. And back. Plank. Left knee towards the left elbow, then towards the right elbow. Feel how that turns the pelvis. Pivot on the right foot. Again, plant the foot, pull the hips towards the ceiling, and extend that left leg. Then bend, pivot on the right foot. Right hand comes to the block, pivot all the way around. So you're on the outer edge of the right foot. Lift the left knee to the ceiling, to lift the hips up, reach that left arm up, and then pivot back to plank pose and back to downward dog. Come down, child's pose, knees together, or knees apart, toes together, hands on blocks. Good. And come up. Okay. Do the best you can. We're going to try it one more time. Yay. So, blocks, you can even turn the block up if you feel like you need to hold the block with your fingers rather than with the heel of your hand down. Right? It does make it a little more, you're just higher, but you're using more of your grip strength than just dropping weight onto your wrist. And if you have your hand down, again, just trying to use as much of the hand, finger pads, ball of the hand as you can. So you're still engaging with the block. Okay, downward dog. Plank pose. Right knee to the right elbow. Right knee to the left elbow. Keep rounding, keep lifting. Turn on that left foot flat on the floor. Pull the hips up, left arm up. Extend that right leg forward, point the toes. Good. Bend the knee, pull the hips up, left hand down. Keep pulling the hips up as you spin around. Right knee up, right arm up. Maybe left foot flat on the floor. Good. Right hand down. Plank. Downward dog. Good. Other side. Plank. Take a break if you need it. Left knee to left elbow. Left knee to right elbow. Pivot on the right foot. Right arm up. Keep pulling the hips up. Step into the right leg, left leg forward. And bend. Right hand down. Pivot all the way around. Pick that left knee up to pull the pelvis up. Maybe step onto the sole of the right foot. Left arm up. And left hand down. Plank. Downward dog. Knees down, knees wide, toes together. Hands on blocks. Good. And walk your hands back. And come up to sit. Yay. Okay. Let's see. Do we... All right. So let's do one a little more simple. So blocks off to the side. I'm going to start this way. And come onto your hips, legs stretching forward. And then hands just behind. Let's bend the knees. Just as simple, right? Let's walk the feet forward a little bit. So as I lift the hips up, I'm just sliding the hands forward, just stretching that front shoulder. And back. Let's turn the hands out to the side. Good, press down through the arms, pulling the shoulder blades down the ribs, sending the hips forward. Again, nice and wide across the chest. And back. Fingers face back. Pressing down, hips slightly up and forward. Good, and back. Okay, reach the legs forward. Good, and I'm just going to cross right leg over left. Hug the legs towards each other. Or squeeze the thighs towards each other, but maybe pull the feet apart. Let's take the arms out and up. Good, and I'm just going to start to curl the whole upper body forward. Right, so the head dips forward, the arms dip, chin towards the chest, crown of the head towards the pubis, rounding, bringing the hands towards the feet. And holding whatever you can hold, then start to draw the crown of the head forward. Lengthen through the side body. Good, start to reach the arms forward as you pull the side body forward. And come up. And the arms down. Let's just do one seated. Let's take arms forward. So I'm going to take the backs of the hands forward and I'm going to let the wrists flex, right? So the palm towards the forearm as I round my upper back. And then I'm going to open, let the chest lift, let the arms come back and the wrists extend. And lift the breastbone as you drop the shoulder blades. One more time, flexing wrists, flexing spine, head drops, hands come to touch, back of hands come to touch, and then reverse, right? Spread the arms, lift the breastbone, the face, wide across the chest, drop the shoulder blades back and down. Good. And release. And just crawl the hands forward. Just take a few breaths folded forward. Good. And release. Other side, other leg on top. Again, Hug the thighs towards each other, but pull the feet apart. Arms up. Rounding, mostly through the upper spine. A sense of that side body pulling back and lengthening. Chin to chest, crown of head towards pubis. Hands come towards the feet or the legs. Take hold where you can on the body and let the crown of the head drop forward. Neck gets long, waist gets long. Breath gets long. And then reach the arms forward and slowly come up. And the arms down. Okay, this time the arms up. And let's take the arms, reach them forward. Come down through your flat back. Good, and then let the hands come to the floor as you round up. And curling, crown of the head towards the pubis as you round up through the spine. One more of those. Arms up. Come down through a flat back. Good. Once you're down, let the arms become passive and rolling through the spine. Crown of the head towards the pubis, segmentally rolling up. Lower spine, middle spine, upper spine, head. Yay. Okay. All right, so let's come to the wall. And you're either going to do a headstand or a headstand prep, right? Meaning you can use the blocks, which is the headstand prep. Most of your weight is against the wall. And if you want to do a headstand, if you're familiar with that practice, I will show you both. Okay, so headstand prep, which is great so that you can be supported and refine your position, especially of the neck and spine, and stay inverted, right? Sometimes you have, you're able to stay longer to get the benefit. So first block is wide and tall on its highest height, middle width, right? That's the lowest width. Well, that's the lowest width. Tall, skinny, middle. So I'm going to go middle width. So it's about, it's a little narrower than shoulder distance apart with my hands on the block. And the block on top is this, the skinniest way on the middle height. Using. Okay, so palms are going to press into the block. Ideally, the palms stay flat. One arm is going to want to roll. Just keep the palms flat, and the forearms pressing, forearms, the whole length of the forearm on the floor. So palms into the block, forearm down. Crown of the head is on the floor. Holding the block with the fingertips. So ideally, the head isn't resting on the back of the block or the back of the head on the block. It's really anchoring down towards the floor. So you get that vertical line from crown to tailbone. Knees lift. Walk your feet in until you feel your upper back on the block. Now pressing those forearms down, and you'll feel the shoulder blades pull up onto the ribs, away from the ears. Good. And that's your focus. Palms in, right forearm down, left forearm down. Right, the arms are different. They're going to want to work differently. So just keeping notice. Right, so we're not trying to make them perfect. We're just noticing when does one side stop working and compromises the center. Good. Staying here. If you would like, keep lifting through the center line and then slide that right leg up. So both legs hugging the center line. Aware of that center point or center plane, crown of head, center of head, spinal column, inseams of legs. Right leg down, left leg up. If you're up in headstand, you can do the same thing, but reverse. Maybe lower one leg down. Right, so that you're changing the load through the spine, right, in order to kind of vary how you support your body. Keep refining it by changing the load in different ways. Good, left leg down. Walk the feet out, knees down. And if you're doing headstand, good. If you're done with your headstand, you can, again, maybe do a downward dog just to lengthen the neck or let the head hang, or you can do Posterior Padottanasana, like standing straddle, feet wide, and let your head right forward fold and let your head hang towards the floor. Okay, I tend to kick the little fingers out the back, right? So it's an even surface in the back. Outer hands, forearm blades on the floor. Little space for the head. Again, head is relating to the floor, right? The wrists are basically just giving the head a reference point if they roll too far to one side. Knees up, hips up. Walking in, sitting bones up. This is the hardest part. How do I keep the integrity of the spine as I play with one knee coming to the chest, then the other? This is an important part of the process. And then slowly, knees up and feet up. Knees bend, knees slowly to the chest, and toes to the floor. Good, the transitions being some of the most important part of any pose. Okay, so let us come down. So I'm just going to take my 2 blocks and my blanket. 2 blocks, lowest height, little distance between the blocks, and the blanket on top. I just made a bolster. Okay, so 2 straight legs, and my bolster is next to my right hip, a little distance away, so that when I roll onto my outer hip, then I meet the block of the bolster. Okay, so I'm just going to bend the knees, take my feet off to the left, Broad Vajrasana. Good, one hand on either side of the bolster. So the knees can be apart if that helps you twist, but I'm going to turn and I'm going to try to bring my left breast and my left cheek to my bolster. So you can even angle the bolster further to the left if that helps. Forearms on the floor. You can pull that right hip out from under you so you really are on that outer hip. Just letting your breath soften, slow down. Feeling the quality of the breath. Making it more diffuse. Allowing the body to really settle and soften into the support underneath you. Right? Maybe even just the awareness of the vastness of the earth beneath you. Gentle, easy, allowing the hands, the feet, the legs, the arms to get heavy. The neck, throat, face soften. The belly soften. Good, last couple breaths. So really allowing your body, giving yourself permission as much as you can. And also noticing the busyness, the resistance, that there's room for all of that as well, that there's room for all of you. And then gently bring the hands under the shoulders. Push your weight back towards your pelvis as you round up to sit. Good, stretch the legs forward. Just gonna switch my legs around, bring the block by the left hip. Again, I want the block far enough away so that as I roll to that outer left hip, the block can then support my ribs. Tuck the feet off to the right. Knees can separate if that helps you twist. Maybe angle the block towards the knees, the furthest point. The part by the hip, keep there. And then turning, right breast and right cheek come down. One side might be easier, the rotation. And again, just letting the hands and feet soften. Feel the weight of the arms and the legs. Be supported by the ground, by the earth underneath. Again, the breath a little more diffuse, soft. And maybe just noticing if there's still something that's running through your mind, something that's still busy, that wants your attention. Good. If you feel nourished, if you feel held, if you feel supported, just gently turn towards that. Like turning towards the child that's upset, or a dear friend. Nothing to really say, just being present, like just your presence, your care, your love. To that busy part. Or that part in need. And just notice what happens just by being present, just by offering your attention and your care. Couple more breaths. And just gently come back just to the feeling of being supported, the earth, right? The mass of the earth. And maybe there's something that you resonate with. A vast desert or a forest or a mountain, a canyon or a valley, whatever it is in the earth, rivers, aquifers. Something that you resonate with. And just gently slide the hands back. Push your weight back towards your hips as you round up. And let's just take this support and put it under our knees. And lay down on your back. You can put something over you, or on your torso, on your thighs, if you have another blanket. Again, just feeling now your back, your skin of your back, your ribs, the spinal column supported by the floor. Back of the head, back of the pelvis. Just settling into the buoyancy of the breath. And just softening into any unwinding, settling. Untangling. Easily and effortlessly. And again, allowing what is no longer needed to just gently be. shed. And then whatever of yours has been, or whatever of you has been displaced or distracted, entangled elsewhere, just gently, kindly, lovingly allow it to return clean and clear to be used as you need. But calling yourself home. And then very slowly, gently, with some movement, your fingers and toes, arms, legs, just gently roll to your side and up to sit. Just aware of your breath. Aware of your quality, your presence, your softness, your openness, whatever is showing up. Palms together in front of your heart. And let's finish with one Om. Om.